So good morning, everybody. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes, but I wanted to take an opportunity to let you know that we are live streaming this competition for the friends and family who couldn't join us today. If you want to text people now, because I'm going to make you turn your phones off, they can go to Facebook and they can look for the Poetry Out Loud Rhode Island page, and the video has begun. So for those people who couldn't join you, contestants, if you want to send a shout out to, so your school can watch you, but that's where this can be seen for those who couldn't be here in person. And we're going to start in just a minute or two. Live streaming this. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 2022 Poetry Out Loud Rhode Island State Finals in person for the first time since 2019. My name is Maggie Anderson, and I am the Arts and Education Director at the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts. And we want to thank our wonderful friends here at the Greenwich Odeum for hosting us today. I'm going to start off by giving us a brief introduction of the program. I'll introduce you to the staff who are here today, and then we'll begin our competition. So Poetry Out Loud is a national arts education program that encourages the study of great poetry by offering educational materials and dynamic recitation competition to high school students grades 9 through 12. This year, Poetry Out Loud Rhode Island served over 1,900 students. We had 39 teachers working with us, representing 13 statewide high schools. And we want to welcome our newest entries from Cranston High School West and LaSalle Academy. Poetry Out Loud uses a pyramid structure that begins at the classroom level. Rhode Island is particularly proud that during this phase, we provided 2 incredible teaching artists to work with our students and teachers. This year's teaching artists are Kate Lohman and Demont Combs, who are here. Winners from the school-wide championships then advance to the state competition, which is today. Our state finalists will be chosen to proceed and compete at the national competition. Poems for the contest are selected from a comprehensive anthology provided by Poetry Out Loud and the National Poetry Foundation. At state and national levels, students must have 3 poems prepared to recite. 1 must be 25 lines or fewer, and 1 must be pre-20th century. Students' performances are judged according to the Poetry Out Loud evaluation criteria, which include multiple elements of evaluation such as voice, articulation, and accuracy. State and national finals consist of 3 rounds. In our competition, the first 2 rounds happen without interruption. After the judges determine scores for these 2 rounds, the 5 highest scoring students return to recite their 3rd and final poem. At the end of the 3rd round, judges determine the final winners. Their scoring is cumulative. The scores from all rounds are added to determine the winner. So that's how we're going to play today. Okay. So joining us here are a few incredible individuals. As I mentioned, we have our 2 teaching artists, Kate Lohman and Demont Combs, but this program doesn't happen without our incredible coordinator, Martha Lavieri. Joining us as judges today are three really super Rhode Islanders. We have Doug Norris, Len Cabral, and Catherine Casley. Our accuracy judge is Wendy Aronoff. Our tabulators are Ellen House and Amy Clark. The competitors will work with Sue Olson as our prompter. And this program, as I mentioned, is sponsored by the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Poetry Foundation. We also really want to thank our community partners, the Providence Athenaeum and the Center for the Book. Both organizations not only are supporting our contestants through this process, but have special gifts for all our competitors today. So we would like to kick off today's celebration of poetry with a live performance by our very own teaching artist, Mr. Orange, DeMont Combs. Have a great day. It's here somewhere. Okay. So we are so lucky to be able to work with this artist during our students' time with this program. DeMont Combs is a published poet from Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York, but he's ours now. He lives in Rhode Island now. He's also known as Mr. Orange. He has hosted numerous venues such as Poetry in Public Places, Cafe Soul, the annual Poetry Festival in New York, Nuyorican Poets Cafe, and Nassau Coliseum with the Queens Underground's Poets. He served as the poetry curator for Motif Magazine, and he hosts the open mic program Mr. Orange Live, Tell Your Truth. He is active in What Chair Writers Club and the Association of Rhode Island Authors. He is a committee member of the long-standing annual Langston Hughes Community Poetry Reading event. Mr. Combs is an Indie Author Legacy Award winner. His dedication to community work includes the role of activist in reforming and establishing income parity for artists in Rhode Island. His noted awards, published works, and numerous competition successes have led him to be an effective and influential artist. We have been fortunate to have him as one of our Poetry Out Loud teaching artists this year. DeMont believes that in life and business, don't let your failures keep you down. Fail better each time, and you'll succeed. So, without further ado, I welcome DeMont on stage.
So I'm gonna need you guys' help with this poem. Can you help me? Yeah. Oh yeah. So everybody knows my favorite color is orange, so I want you guys, when I do this, orange. Oh, yeah, I already got it. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Orange. Plasmatic flames rise above all else, consuming as is the most beautiful sight above all else, to the dawning of the sun, to the rising of the morning, to the burning of all things burning. Orange. Camouflage in the wilderness, life depends on. To the deepest depths of darkness accompanied by orange. And the tiger's true colors appear, and orange shows no fear. Juices flow and sun-bathed back near the equator's might. Only in warm weather can an orange tree grow. Orange seeds, I spit seeds instead of spilling seeds that bleed my heart. Orange. And until the orange is recognized, I will keep wearing the brightly colored color to the love song, sing notes in my favorite color. Orange to you, I dedicate this poem to. Orange, I'll admit, I'm just a little bit tiny, obsessed with you, because sometimes I bear the weight of 1,000 futures in one morning, or simply the weight of my sons on my chest. I get up and get ready to face hatred and racism, breath to breath, face to face, and I say love will prevail. As I prepare to meet the sun halfway to become half as shy, whatever is ready to dull. I know my black past had nothing but whips and chains and ghettos and urban things, but all that black repression built resiliency in my genes. Caging tigers built on instinct to survive. I remember I repeatedly prayed to make it to the day until God began to answer back, and I became a symbol of hope, an inspiration of words for all those who ask me, what is my favorite color? Orange. And I say to myself, this is where orange meets black excellence. This is where my past chains can't obtain this black body today. Privilege permits to carry and conceal ignorance. View my skin as weapon, where my words will have to shoot off at the mouth, and justice will have to learn how to fly, so I leave it up to God. We are supposed to compete, but see the humans beside us. We are supposed to love deeper than the division between us, but this ignorance started ages ago, before I even knew what a thought was. Before the sun could reset, sunset on rewriting history. They called us pirate junkies, crack monkeys, ate hoodlums, but we be kings, princes, queens, guards of our sectors, protectors of our brothers and sisters. We all want to see the orange sunset on the better day at the end of the day. And that's why, in 1990, my mother faced uncertainty, me and my twin faced death. Breath to breath, face to face, but God brought forth two miracles that I can stand before you today and say, you are the ink. Let your voice be heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are you so ready now? Yes? Yes? Okay, housekeeping. We have an official photographer here who will be capturing all of the student performances, single shots, group shots, everything. So we have to ask you to take no photos at all. It can be very distracting while the students are reciting. Also, nobody keeps their phone on ring anymore, right? But please double, triple check that your phone is off, and if it's set to vibrate, that it's not in a space that's gonna make noise, okay? And we thank you in advance for that. So, deep breaths, okay? I'll be calling the students up one-on-one. Recitation order for both rounds, okay? You'll come to the mic, you'll do your performance, you'll have your seat, okay? All right, it's gonna be great. Okay, starting us off from St. Patrick Academy, Liani Gomes.
Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Mosab Abu Toha for Alicia M. Quesnel, MD. When you open my ear, touch it gently. My mother's voice lingers somewhere inside. Her voice is the echo that helps recover my equilibrium when I feel dizzy during my attentiveness. You may encounter songs in Arabic, poems in English I recite to myself, or a song I chant to the chirping birds in our backyard. When you stitch the cut, don't forget to put all these back in my ear. Put them back in order as you would do with books on your shelf. The drone's buzzing sound, the roar of an F-16, the screams of bombs falling on houses, on fields, and on bodies, of rockets flying away. Rid my small ear canal of them all. Spray the perfume of your smiles on the incision. Inject the song of life into my veins to wake me up. Gently beat the drum so my mind may dance with yours, my doctor, day and night.
From Providence Country Day School, Kylia Bodden.
Rondo by Lee Hunt. Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief, who love to put sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad, say that health and wealth haven't missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me.
From Classical High School, Mariama. That's my fault, I'm sorry. I'm not giving enough time to the judges. That's important, that one's my bad. Okay, From Classical High School, no?
Can you just wait until we nod
We'll
to,
give you a thumbs up.
Absolutely. My apologies. I'm so sorry.
we're still on the first one.
Okay. Now, from Classical High School, Mariama Bangabela.
Cartoon Physics Part 1 by Nick Flynn. Children under, say, 10 shouldn't know that the universe is ever expanding, inexorably pushing into the vacuum, galaxies swallowed by galaxies, whole solar systems collapsing. All of it acted out in silence. At 10, we were still learning the rules of cartoon animation, that if a man draws a door on a rock, only he can pass through it. Anyone else who tries will crash into the rock. 10-year-olds should stick with burning houses, car wrecks, ships going down, earthbound, tangible disasters. Arenas where they can be heroes. You can run back into a burning house. Sinking ships have lifeboats. The trucks will come with their ladders. If you jump, you will be saved. A child places her hand on the roof of a school bus and drives it across a city of sand. She knows the exact spot it will skid, at which point the bridge will give, who will swim to safety, and who will be pulled under by sharks. She will learn that if a man runs off the edge of a cliff, he will not fall until he notices his mistake.
From Chariho Regional High School, Virginia Keister.
I Once Was a Child by Victoria Che. I once was a child, am a child, am someone's child, not my mother's, not my father's. The boss gave us special treatment for something special, a lollipop or a sticker, glitter from the toy box. The better we did, the better the plastic prize made in China. One year, everyone got a spinning top. One year, everyone got a tap on their shoulders. One year, everyone was fired. Everyone fired but me. One year, we all lost our words. One year, my father lost his words to a stroke of bad luck stuck. His words used to be so worldly. His words fired him, let him go without notice. Can they do that? Can she do that? Yes, she can. In this land, she can. Once we sang songs around a piano. This land is your land, this land is my land. In this land, someone always owns the land. In this land, someone who owns the land, owns the buildings on the land, owns the people in the buildings. Unless an earthquake sucks the land in like a long noodle.
From Portsmouth Abbey High School. That's incorrect. From Central Falls High School, Aileen Mendoza.
The Paradox by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I am the mother of sorrows. I am the ender of grief. I am the bud and the blossom. I am the late falling leaf. I am thy priest and thy poet. I am thy serf and thy king. I cure the tears of the heartsick. When I come near, they shall sing. White are my hands as the snowdrop. Swart are my fingers as clay. Dark is my frown as the midnight. Fair is my brow as the day. Battle and war are my minions, doing my will as divine. I am the calmer of passions. Peace is a nursling of mine. Speak to me gently or curse me. Seek me or fly from my sight. I am thy fool in the morning. Thou art my slave in the night. Down to the grave will I take thee, out from the noise of the strife. Then shalt thou see me and know me. Death, then, no longer, but life. Then shalt thou sing at my coming, kiss me with passionate breath, clasp me and smile to have thought me, art save the foeman of death. Come to me, brother, when weary. Come when thy lonely heart swells. I'll guide thy footsteps and lead thee down where the dream woman dwells. Thank you.
From Portsmouth Abbey High School, Jennifer Shawn.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Shawn, and I will be reciting How to Triumph Like a Girl by Ada Lemoon. I like the lady horses best, how they make it all look easy. Like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap or grass. I like their lady horse swagger after winning. Ears up, girls, ears up. But mainly, let's be honest, I like that they're ladies. As if this big, dangerous animal is also a part of me. That somewhere inside the delicate skin of my body, there pumps an 8-pound female horse heart, giant with power, heavy with blood. Don't you want to believe it? Don't you want to lift my shirt and see the huge, beating genius machine that thinks, no, it knows it's going to come in first.
From Central High School, Johanny Durand.
A Litany for Survival by Audre Lorde. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breathe futures like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk. For by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive.
From Cranston High School West, Caleb Pereira.
Ballad of Birmingham by Dudley Randall. Oh. Let's try that again. Ballad of Birmingham by Dudley Randall. Mother dear, may I go downtown instead of out to play and march the streets of Birmingham in a freedom march today? No, baby, no, you may not go, for the dogs are fierce and wild, and clubs and hoses, guns and jails aren't good for a little child. But mother, I won't be alone. Other children will go with me and march the streets of Birmingham to make our country free. No, baby, no, you may not go, for I fear the guns will fire. But you may go to church instead and sing in the children's choir. She has combed and brushed her night dark hair and bathed rose petal sweet, and drawn white gloves on her small brown hands and white shoes on her feet. The mother smiled to know her child was in the sacred place, but that smile was the last smile to come upon her face. For when she heard the explosion, her eyes grew wet and wild. She raced through the streets of Birmingham calling for her child. She clawed through bits of glass and brick and lifted out a shoe. Oh, here's the shoe my baby wore. But baby, where are you? Thank you.
From East Providence High School, Nazare Phillip.
the Light Enter by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. The dying words of Goethe. Light, more light. The shadows deepen, and my life is ebbing low. Throw the windows widely open. Light, more light, before I go. Softly let the balmy sunshine play around my dying bed. Ere the dimly lighted valley, I, with lonely feet, must tread. Light, more light, for death is weaving shadows round my waning sight, and I fain would gaze upon him through a stream of earthly light. Not for greater gifts of genius, not for thoughts more grandly bright. All the dying poet whispers is a prayer for light, more light. Heeds he not the gathered laurels fading slowly from his sight? All the poet's aspirations center in that prayer for light. Gracious Savior, when life's daydreams melt and vanish from the sight, may our dim and longing vision then be blessed with light, more light. Thank you.
From LaSalle Academy, Claire Fitzgerald.
When I Heard the Learned Astronomer by Walt Whitman. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I, sitting, heard the astronomer where he lectured, with much applause in the lecture room, how soon, unaccountable, I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars.
So we're gonna roll right into round two, but how about a round of applause? So joining us again, St. Patrick Academy, Leonie Go.
Ed, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I know what my heart is like since your love died. It is like a hollow ledge, holding a little pool left there by the tide. A little tepid pool, drying inward from the edge. Thank you.
From Providence Country Day School, Kylia Bodden.
This is Not a Small Voice by Sonia Sanchez. This is not a small voice you hear. This is a large voice coming out of these cities. This is the voice of Latanya, Kadisha, Shaniqua. This is the voice of Antoine, Daryl, Shaquille, running over waters, navigating the hallways of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities, and no epitaphs spill out of their river mouths. This is not a small love you hear. This is a large love, a passion for kissing, learning on its face. This is the love that crowns the feet with hands, that nourishes, conceives, feels the water sails, mends the children, folds them inside our history where they toast, more than the flesh, where they suck the bones of the alphabet and spit out closed vowels. This is a love colored with iron and lace. This is a love initialed Black Genius. This is not a small voice you hear.
From Classical High School, Mariama Bandabela.
History Lesson by Natasha Trethaway. I am four in this photograph, standing on a wide strip of Mississippi beach, my hands on the flowered hips of a bright bikini. My toes dig in, curl around wet sand. The sun cuts the rippling gulf and flashes with each tidal rush. Minnows dart at my feet, glinting like switchblades. I am alone except for my grandmother, other side of the camera, telling me how to pose. It is 1970, 2 years after they opened the rest of the beach to us. 40 years since the photograph where she stood on a narrow plot of sand marked, colored, smiling, her hands on the flowered hips of a cotton meal sack dress.
From Chariho High School, Virginia Keister.
Follow Thy Fair Sun by Thomas Campion. Follow thy fair sun, unhappy shadow, though thou be black as night, and she made all of light. Yet follow thy fair sun, unhappy shadow. Follow her whose light thy light depriveth, though here thou liv'st disgraced, and she in heaven is placed. Yet follow her whose light the world reviveth. Follow those pure beams whose beauty burneth, that so have scorched thee, as thou still black must be, till her kind beams thy black to brightness turneth. Follow her while yet her glory shineth. There comes a luckless night that will dim all her light, and this the black unhappy shade divineth. Follow still, since so thy fates ordained. The sun must have his shade, till both at once do fade. The sun still proved, the shadow still disdained.
From Central Falls High School, Aileen Mendoza.
Ode for the American Dead in Asia by Thomas McGrath. 1. God love you now, if no one else will ever. Corpse in the paddy, or dead on a high hill, in the fine and ruinous summer of a war you never wanted. All your false flags were of bravery and ignorance, like grade school maps, colors of countries you would never see until that weekend in eternity when, laughing, well-armed, perfectly ready to kill the world and your brother, the safe commanders sent you into your future. Oh, dead on a hill, dead in a paddy, leached and tumbled to a tomb of footnotes. We mourn a changeling, you, handselled to poverty and drummed to war by distinguished masters whom you never knew. 2. The bee that spins his metal from the sun, the shy mole drifting like a minor ghost through midnight earth. All happy creatures run as strict as trains on rails, the circuits of blind instinct. Happy in your summer follies, you mined a culture that was mined for war. The state to mold you, church to bless, and always the elders to confirm you in your ignorance. No scholar put your thinking cap on, nor warned that in dead seas fishes died in schools before inventing legs to walk the land. The ruler stuck a tennis racket in your hand, an ark against the flood. In time of change, courage is not enough. The blind mole dies, and you, on your hill, who did not know the rules. 3. Wet in the windy counties of the dawn, the lone crow skirls his draggled passage home. And God, whose sparrows fall aslant his gaze like grace or confetti, blinks, and he is gone, and you are gone. Your scarecrow valor
grows and rusts like early lilac, while the rose blooms in Dakota and the stock exchange flowers. Roses, rents, all things conspire to crown your death with wreaths of living fire. And the public mourners come. The politic tear is cast in the forum. But in another year, we will mourn you, whose fossil courage fills the limestone histories. Brave, ignorant, amazed, dead in the rice paddies, dead on the nameless hills. Thank you.
From Portsmouth Abbey School, Jennifer Shawn.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Shawn, and I will be reciting Say Grace by Emily Jungmin Yoon. In my country, our shamans were women and our gods multiple, until white people brought an ecstasy of rosaries, and our cities today glow with crosses like graveyards. As a child in Sunday school, I was told I'd go to hell if I didn't believe in God. Our teacher was a woman whose daughters wanted to be nuns, and I asked, what about babies? And what about Buddha? And she said, they're in hell too. And so I memorized prayers and recited them in front of women I did not believe in. Deliver us from evil, O sweet Virgin Mary, amen. Oh sweet, oh sweet. In this country, which calls itself Christian, what is sweeter than hearing, have mercy on us, from those who serve different gods? Oh clement, oh loving, oh God, amidst ruins, amidst waters, fleeing. Deliver us from evil. Oh sweet, oh sweet. In this country, point at the moon, at the stars, point at the way the lake lies with a handful of feathers, and they will look at the feathers and kill you for it. If a word for a religion they don't believe in is magic, so be it. Let us have magic. Let us have our own mothers and scarves, our spirits, our shamans, and our sacred books. Let us have our stars to ourselves, and we shall pray to no one. Let us eat what makes us holy.
From Central High School, Johanny Duran.
Was Not Death, for I Stood Up, by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt sirocco's crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all. The figures I have seen set orderly for burial reminded me of mine. As if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight some, when everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost's first autumn morns repeal the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar or even a report of land to justify despair. Thank you.
From Cranston High School West, Caleb Pereira.
This is Black Boys Play the Classics by Toy Derico. The most popular act in Penn Station is the three black kids in ratty sneakers and t-shirts playing two violins and a cello. Brahms. White men in business suits have already dug into their pockets as they pass and they toss in $1 or $2 without stopping. Brown men in work-soiled khakis stand with their mouths open, arms crossed on their bellies as if they themselves have always wanted to attempt those bars. One white boy, 3, sits cross-legged in front of his idols in ecstasy. Their slick, dark faces, their thin, wiry arms, who must begin to look like angels. Why does this trembling pull us? Beneath the surface, we are one. Amazing. I did not think that they could speak this tongue. Thank you.
From East Providence High School, Nazare Phillip.
Old Mama Saturday by Mary Ponsod. Saturday's child must work for a living. I'm moving from Grief Street. The taxes are high here, but the mortgage cheap. The house is well built, with stuff to protect that mattered to me, the security. These things that I mind, aren't mine. I mind minding them. They weigh on my mind. I don't mind them well. I haven't got the knack of kindly minding. I say take them back, but you never do. When I throw them out, it may frighten you, and maybe me too. Maybe it will empty me too emptily and keep me here asleep at sea under the gilt quilt, under the yew tree. Thank you.
From LaSalle Academy, Claire Fitzgerald.
The Tide Rises, the Tide Falls by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The tide rises, the tide falls. The twilight darkens, the curlew calls. Along the sea sands damp and brown, the traveler hastens toward the town. And the tide rises, the tide falls. Darkness settles on roofs and walls, but the sea in the darkness calls. The little waves with their soft white hands efface the footprints in the sands. And the tide rises, the tide falls. The morning breaks. The steeds in their stalls stamp and neighs the hostler calls. The day returns, but nevermore returns the traveler to the shore. And the tide rises, the tide falls.
So that's the conclusion of round 1 and 2. Another round of applause, please. We're going to take a brief 10-minute intermission. This will allow our judges and tabulators to identify the 5 finalists. And so in 10 minutes, we will come back together, do a brief certificate ceremony, and then start round 3. So thank you.
John. This is one of the best years we've had. So well.
So no one's dated you yet? No.
Yeah, I know.
You know, you might be nervous.
I honestly think
It is. They all, that's the category.
That's a really interesting thing because that's what you started
Right.
after it's clear as well. That's a really
It is.
so I'm glad you do it. I think that does.
Yeah, that's the national, that's what they have to do in order to qualify to be here. You have to show, when you go to the college, it'll make it easier for you because right at the top, it'll tell you what category it falls into. It's 25 years or less or pre-20th century. And some of them meet both. So you can use that one column to get both categories and choose to any kind of setting. But that's, it's also down to legacy part. You don't understand. You can't see the change unless you know what they Sure. Yeah, and that's. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I was going to say
This is Maggie's first kid, first son, because Randy was on retired. I know what he's saying. She's like, no, this is better. That Venus, so insane. Me and the candy factory felt over by just going faster and faster. It just would have been wrong. I skipped one number.
So, I can see the
sure. So that's
it's like when you're in a band, and your song is this week by your sleep.
Well, they, no, and I should, that's something I should have explained. If they do,
Right.
I didn't think that.
No, I didn't, but I just thought, oh, maybe they should speak.
Well, they do, when by the time they get down, and things like some of these are just easy. And even the babies or the kids are hearing but they don't know these stuff. Sure. Even I thought they could almost.
Yeah.
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 And that's where highs can go up. My students were, I was, no, you did the electric school. Between the first place and the second place was
Probably just like one thing.
no,
Yeah, it's just some of these movies, so.
Nobody's asked me yet. I'm sorry, I saw them all kind of, when I had to tell them what they do in the evening. I could see them all going, why not? But I don't think they were the counter this time. I think they were all the time.
It's a different medium. Oh, it's a real stage.
Okay, ladies and gents, we're gonna start up soon. Just wait for the last stragglers from the lobby and you're gonna There's our lineup. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone got a time to take a little break. So before we announce the 5 finalists and move to our final round of competition, we'd like to celebrate each school finalist here. So each finalist, in addition to being their school champion, is going to receive this fancy certificate of participation, frameable, and then 2 gifts from our partner organizations. One is a 1-year subscription membership to the Providence Athenaeum, which is an awesome, awesome place. And then a gift book from the Rhode Island Center for the Book, and this year's book is Fire Keeper's Daughter, Keep the Secret, Live the Lie, Earn the Truth by Angeline Booley. So, in recitation order, we are going to begin by recognizing from St. Patrick Academy, Liani Gomes. We're just going to make sure if you want to. Do we need them to come closer?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, make sure you're good. Thank you. Okay. From Providence Country Day School, we are recognizing Kylia Bodden. From Classical High School, we are recognizing Mariama Bandavela. From Cherry Hill High School, we are recognizing Virginia Keister. From Central High School, we are recognizing Aileen Mendoza. From Portsmouth Abbey, we are recognizing Jennifer Shaw. From Central High School, Johanny Duran. From Cranston High School West, Caleb Pereira. From East Providence High School, we're recognizing Nazare Phillip. And from LaSalle Academy, we recognize Claire Fitzgerald. I also want to take a very special moment to thank an incredible group of people who made this happen. If you have been living under a rock for the last 2 years, you know that our teachers, our educators, and our school support staff have been nothing short of superheroes. And so I'd like to take a moment to recognize the Poetry Out Loud teachers who, in addition to everything else they were doing this year, to give our students the experience that they deserve, helped facilitate this Poetry Out Loud, which is totally optional for schools to participate. So this is something additional that not only our competitors, but our incredible educators take on. So if you could hold your applause to the end, but then give like a very ruckus, tear down the roof round of applause, that would be incredible. So from St. Patrick Academy, Brett Summers and Kelly Andrioni. From Providence Country Day, Haley Crockett. From Classical High School, Ellen Anderson, Christopher Kite, Francesca Leclerc, Christina Tovo, Francesca Dow, Damian Yatow, Cassidy Wardwell. From Charahoe Regional High School, Dana Hall and Rebecca Burns. From Central Fall High School, Dr. Dolores Grant, Mary Sue St. George, Stephen DeLeo, Bianca Coravan, and Marcella Garces. From Portsmouth Abbey, Jay Bragan, Laura Bonin, Michael Bonin, Kate Smith. From Central, Richard Gerspan, Diane McLaughlin, Tracy Boothman, Danielle Lilly, Nocolosa Jimenez. From Cranston West High School, Kate Ray and Susan Evej. I apologize if that's incorrect. From East Providence High School, Diana Lee. From LaSalle Academy, James Lorenko, Emily McLean, Steve White, Mike Parr, Meg Radal, and Dave Tinsky. So for our educators, a huge round of applause. I'd like to ask our competitors to please take their house seats, and please bring your water bottle with you. Okay, so round 3. The Competitors, I will list the 5 final competitors in one moment, but I wanted to let you know what happens next for our competitors and the Poetry Out Loud prizes. The second place finalist will receive $100 for a stipend for themselves and $200 for his or her school library to purchase works of poetry. The first place winner of Poetry Out Loud finals will receive $200 and their school will receive a $500 stipend for the purchase of poetry books. The state finalist also receives this beautiful Poetry Out Loud trophy, which gets placed in your school, and Martha works with your school to make sure it's in an area of prominence. So if your school has a big trophy case, we get it right in there. You get a name plaque and all that good stuff. The national finals will be taking place virtually this year. On May 1st, our state champion will compete in the national semifinal, and when they advance, because you saw how good these guys are, and they will compete in the final, which will be streamed on June 5th. The Poetry Out Loud National Competition awards a total of $50,000 in cash prizes and school stipends, with a $20,000 cash prize for the national champion, a $10,000 cash prize for second place, and a $5,000 cash prize for third. So I will now announce in no particular order our 5 finalists. Please come up and take a seat on the stage when you hear your name. Okay, our finalists are Mariama Bandabaila. Johani Duran. Virginia Keister. Nazare Phillip. And our 5th, Jennifer Shawn. Some of them forgot their waters. Fast, fast. Okay. Beginning the 3rd round from Classical High School, Oh, no, we can't start yet, Ella. Guys, this is my first year. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I think Randy Rosenbaum is watching on Facebook Live right now, but he did it wonderfully for many, many years, and I'm stumbling my way through it, but we're gonna get there together.
Can you tell me what order they're going to go in?
Yes, ma'am. We are going to go with Mariama, Virginia, Jennifer, Johani, Nazare.
Jennifer. Not ready yet.
Not at all. Take your time. I did. Oh. Hi, I'm Maggie Anderson. And I work at the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts. I'm the Director of Education. I'm not a performing artist.
Do you mind if we double check the order?
Absolutely. Beginning with Mariama, Virginia, Jennifer, Johani, Nazare. judges too? Everything good? Okay, so from Classical High School, beginning our final round, Mariama Bandabela.
Songs for the People by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let me make the songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make songs for the weary, amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax their tension and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float over life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged when shadows dim their sight, of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music pure and strong to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender girdle the world with peace.
From Chariho High School, Virginia Keister.
The Cave by Paul Tran. Someone standing at the mouth had the idea to enter, to go further than light or language could go. As they followed the idea, light and language followed like two wolves, panting, hearing themselves panting. A shapeless scent in the damp air. Keep going, the idea said. Someone kept going. Deeper and deeper, they saw others had been there. Others had left objects that couldn't have found their way there on their own. Ochre-stained shells, bird bones, grounded hematite. On the walls, as if stepping into history, someone saw their purpose. Cows, bulls, bison, deer, horses, some pregnant, some slaughtered. The wildlife seemed wild and alive, moving when someone moved, casting their shadows on the shadows stretching in every direction. Keep going, the idea said again. Go. Someone continued. They followed the idea so far inside that outside was another idea.
From Portsmouth Abbey School, Jennifer Shaw.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Shawn, and I will be reciting Adam's Curse by William Butler Yeats. We sat together at one summer's end. That beautiful, mild woman, your close friend, and you and I, and talked of poetry. I said, a line will take us hours maybe, and yet if does not seem a moment's thought, our stitching and unstitching has been naught. Better go down upon your marrow bones and scrub a kitchen pavement, or break stones like an old pauper in all kinds of weather. For to articulate sweet sounds together is to work harder than all these, and yet be thought an idler by the noisy set of bankers, schoolmasters, and clergymen the martyrs call the world. And thereupon that beautiful, mild woman, for whose sake there's many a one shall find out all heartache on finding that her voice is sweet and low, replied, to be born woman is to know, although they do not talk of it at school, that we must labor to be beautiful. I said, it's certain there's no fine thing, since Adam's fall but needs much laboring. There have been lovers who thought love should be so much compounded of high courtesy that they would sigh and quote with learned looks precedents out of beautiful old books. Yet now it seems an idle trade enough. We sat grown quiet at the name of love. We saw the last embers of daylight die, and in the trembling blue-green of the sky, a moon, worn as if it had been a shell, washed by time's water as they rose and fell about the stars and broke in days and years. I had a thought for no one's but your ears, that you were beautiful, and that I strove to love you in the old highway of love, that it had all seemed happy, and yet we'd grown as weary-hearted as that hollow moon. Thank you.
From Central High School, Johanny Duran.
Stop by Nikki Grimes. I come home, feet about to bleed from angry stomping. Boy, says Mom, quit making all that racket. But what does she expect when day after day haters sling words at me like jagged stones designed to split my skin? I retreat to my room, collapse on the bed, count 1, 2, 3. When I get to 10, I snatch up journal and pen, flip to a clean page and unload my hurts, my rage, till I can breathe again. Letter by letter, I rediscover my power to decide which words matter, which words don't, and whose. Calm. Now I remember I get to choose. Thank you.
From East Providence High School, Nazare Phillip.
The Children's Hour by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night is beginning to lower, comes a pause in the day's occupations. That is known as the Children's Hour. I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices soft and sweet. From my study, I see in the lamplight, descending the broad hall stair, grave Alice and laughing Allegra, and Edith with golden hair. A whisper, then a silence. Yet I know by their merry eyes, they are plotting and planning together to take me by surprise. A sudden rush from the stairway, a sudden raid from the hall. By 3 doors left unguarded, they enter my castle wall. They climb up into my turret or the arms and back of my chair. If I try to escape, they surround me. They seem to be everywhere. They almost devour me with kisses. Their arms about me entwine, till I think of the Bishop of Bingen and his mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, oh blue-eyed vanity, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you all? I have you fast in my fortress, and will not let you depart, but put you down into the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there will I keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble to ruin and molder in dust away. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 5 finalists. So while the judges are tabulating, we are not going to take an intermission, but I do want to invite anybody who needs to like stand, move, stretch, say hello to your neighbor, offer suggestions for things to say up here. I believe these guys go back to their house seats, so please, back to your house seats. So just stick with us for 5 or so minutes. I do just also want to ask the families of the finalists, should your student be selected for first or second place, you cannot leave the venue this afternoon without connecting with this lovely woman ascending the stairs right now, Martha Wave. If you come in first or second and you don't see her before you go, you're missing out on tons of crucial information you need about the final, so please be sure to connect with Martha. And I guess the other announcement would be that at the close of the program, we will be taking a ton more photos with all 5 finalists, but at that point, we do open the backdrop to families, so if you want to take your own photos with your own competitor, you can do that as well. Who would like to hear something else from DeMont?
Surrounded by the brisk night, cold air, calculating, cunning, drifting, shifting through, stealing heat and breath. Corner mind, feet planted in cement, but thoughts plunged by circumstance. Then a man walks by. A piece of metal lies at feet, and he has himself a good cackle, laughing at my situation, saying, if you want more, get a job. But Job is Job when God tested him, Jesus on the crossroads standing beside him, if I could tell y'all my story. Sing to me the Psalms of forgiveness and whisper to me the knowledge of Proverbs. I'm on the battlefield. David versus Goliath. All that's left is these dry bones. I walk through the valley with the cross on my shoulder, my sword in my tongue. I am a one-man army, but I'm not alone. God's walking beside me, fighting these demons trying to jump me, but I got figs of wings and angels picking me up to carry me to the highest mountaintop, 2 in Genesis. But my sins, they weigh me down. Persecution by my conviction, I am falling. I am falling with the armor that's supposed to protect me. Gravity against me, faith above me, hell beneath me, but clouds turn to sheep. Woe, but sheep, woe, will not save me. It's just the devil trying to distract me. So I begin to pray with the humbleness of David. Become a living testament. Read the New Testament. Wear the crown of the kings. Hear God's voice call me. Have the endurance of Job after losing everything worth holding on to in the fire. If God said to forgive him, then so it shall be. Revelation by reading Revelation, no longer falling because I am back on earth. I am walking. I'm walking with the feet of Romans to Exodus 2, a new Genesis beginning towards the end of Revelation. My feet are firm, but my steps are soft. If I could leave this dance as loud, if all I had on this corner was but a message, a gift, a reminder. Keep your change. I am still human.
thank you to everybody who's watching at home on Facebook Live.
The judging room.
So there was one in the building. Plus there's one in heaven.
The judging room is.
They're not like
the judging. That's why I'm so it's just that they make a mistake. And then there's a split.
So what's happening is that our judges have scored, and now our tabulators, as you may recall at the beginning, that all of the scoring is cumulative in the first and second round, and then in the third round. So we're just making sure they've got all their numbers right, and they've snuck up to the lobby to do that. So that's what we're waiting for. But you are more than welcome to talk amongst yourselves, or watch us just stand up here.
Can anyone juggle?
Juggle? Just really the basic cascade, and that's what I did. But I could probably still do that.
You know, I was surprised at the sheer number of actors that could juggle.
What'd you say?
It's like, they like needed that.
Right.
They all know how to do
The more you know how to do it, the more you get that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is so awesome. We're gonna have an impromptu performance from Len Cabral. Thank you, thank you.
Great job, all of you did a great job. Yeah. Well, I'll tell a short story about these two, about how important it is to know a second language. How many of you out here know a second language, speak a second language? Oh, good, good, good. It's so important to know a second language, and this is why. Once, there were two little mice. They were brother and sister. They're about your age. They were playing and playing and playing and playing. They weren't playing cat and mouse games, they were just playing mouse games. They were playing and playing and playing, but all of a sudden, a big old alley cat came right toward those two little mice. Those two little mice went, ah! But fortunately for them, they were on the other side of a fence. And when that cat went like that, he could not reach those two little mice. Because that fence was there, he went like this. As soon as those mice realized the cat could not reach them, they went, nah, 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 you can't get us. The cat went, they went, Finally, the cat stepped back from the fence. That cat squatted down. And that cat jumped up into the air and landed on the top of that fence. Looked down at those two little mice. Those two mice looked up, they said, uh-oh. And the cat jumped down, and he started to walk toward those two little mice. Those two mice went, ah! And they ran and they hid behind their mother mouse. And the mother mouse, she put her babies behind her like that, and the cat was coming closer and closer, and that mother mouse, she didn't know what she was going to do, but she knew she had to protect her children, but she didn't know how she was going to protect her children. And the cat was coming closer and closer, and that mother mouse didn't know what she was going to do, but she knew she had to protect her children, but she didn't know how she was going to protect her children. And the cat was coming closer and closer, and that mother mouse reached deep down inside herself and went, woof, 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 woof. And the cat jumped the fence and ran away. And that, my friends, is why it's very good to know a second language.
Thank you for your patience. I'm very excited to say that we can now announce the state champion for Rhode Island Poetry Out Loud 2022. So, all of our 5 finalists will be joining us on stage to receive a medal. The trophy does not go home with our champion today. The trophy gets the nameplate, and then we take it to the champion's high school, and we put it on display in that trophy case, okay? But everything else goes home. So, our 2 honorable mentions this afternoon are for Nazare Phillip and Jennifer Shawn. And Nazare is from East Providence High School. Congratulations. And Jennifer is from Portsmouth Abbey. Okay, in 3rd place, from Charahoe High School, Virginia Keister.
Mask off.
Okay, 2nd place and first runner-up should our champion not be able to compete in Washington, or virtually in Washington. 2nd place from Central High School, Johanny Duran. Rhode Island Poetry Out Loud state champion is from Classical High School, Mariama Bandavera. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Poetry Out Loud Rhode Island finalists. And you guys can come back in front of the banners.